Silence is not empty. That's the mistake people make. They think silence is nothing. But silence is when everything unfinished starts moving. Put two people in a room and take the sound away. No phones, no music, no small talk to lean on. Watch what happens. Eyes shift, bodies adjust. Someone coughs. Someone laughs too quickly. Not because something is funny, but because the quiet is starting to press. Silence removes the script. And without a script, people don't know who they are supposed to be. That discomfort you feel in quiet moments isn't boredom, it's exposure. Because silence doesn't add anything, it only takes things away. And what's left is you. Most people say they hate silence because it's awkward. That's not true. Silence isn't awkward by itself. It becomes uncomfortable when there's nothing left to hide behind. Conversation is armor. Scrolling is padding. Background noise is a shield that keeps attention from turning inward. When the noise stops, the mind doesn't rest. It scans. It replays. It fills the space with unfinished thoughts you've been avoiding all day. Things you didn't say. Things you meant to do. Moments where you felt smaller than you wanted to admit. Silence doesn't create those thoughts. It just removes the distractions that kept them buried. That's why people rush to break it. They check their phone without reading anything. They comment on the weather. They apologize for nothing. Anything to restore the noise. Because noise gives the illusion of control. Silence offers no such comfort. It doesn't guide you. It doesn't reassure you. It simply waits. And waiting is where discomfort grows. In social spaces, silence is rarely neutral. It's read as something: disapproval, judgment, rejection. When someone stops responding, the other person starts filling the gap with assumptions. Did I say something wrong? Did I go too far? Did I lose control of the moment? Silence removes feedback, and without feedback, people panic. Because most social behavior isn't about expression, it's about calibration. We talk to measure distance. We speak to see where we stand. Silence refuses to cooperate. It gives no signal, no correction, no reassurance. That's why silence often feels aggressive even when it isn't. It forces the other person to confront uncertainty without guidance. In groups, silence is even worse. The quiet becomes a spotlight. Everyone waits for someone else to step into it, and the longer no one does, the heavier it feels. Silence exposes hierarchy. The person who can stay quiet without consequences holds power. The one who rushes to fill the space usually doesn't. People don't fear silence because it's empty. They fear it because it removes their ability to manage how they are perceived. Control is rarely loud. Real control doesn't need to announce itself. It waits. That's why silence is uncomfortable for people who rely on reaction. If you need a response to feel secure, silence feels like a threat. If you need validation to exist comfortably, silence feels like disappearance. Silence shifts responsibility inward. There's no one to blame the feeling on, no tone to misinterpret, no words to argue with. Just your own response to the absence of input. Some people interpret silence as punishment, others as abandonment. But both reactions reveal the same thing: an inability to sit with unanswered space. People who are comfortable with silence aren't calmer, they're less dependent. They don't need constant confirmation to maintain a sense of self. Silence doesn't weaken them, it stabilizes them. That's why silence often feels unequal. One person feels exposed, the other feels grounded, and nothing was said. Silence is most uncomfortable with people who matter. With strangers, quiet is forgettable. With someone close, it becomes loaded. Because intimacy creates expectation. When someone who knows you goes silent, the mind doesn't ask what happened, it asks what it means. Was that pause intentional? Was it disappointment? Was it withdrawal? Silence in intimacy feels dangerous because it threatens connection without explanation. There are no raised voices, no accusations, just absence. And absence is harder to argue with. Arguments still acknowledge your presence. Silence makes you feel optional. That's why people chase answers in quiet moments. They over-explain, they apologize first. They offer solutions that were never requested. Not to fix the situation, but to restore sound. Because sound means engagement. Silence feels like disengagement. And disengagement feels like being slowly erased while still standing there. What makes it worse is that silence gives no timeline. You don't know if it will end. You don't know if it already has. And waiting without clarity is one of the most destabilizing experiences the mind can have. People don't break silence because they have something important to say. They break it because they can't tolerate what the quiet is showing them. Silence reflects dependency, need, fear of being unseen. It reveals how much of your identity is built on response, on reaction, on confirmation. When silence stretches, it forces a confrontation most people aren't prepared for. Who are you when no one is responding? Are you still certain? Still grounded? Still intact? Or do you start shrinking without feedback? That's the real reason silence makes people uncomfortable. It tests how stable your sense of self really is. Some people escape it immediately. Others learn to sit inside it without reaching for noise. Not because they are stronger, but because they are less afraid of what appears when nothing is said. Silence doesn't judge you. It doesn't accuse. It simply removes distractions and waits. And what you feel in that waiting tells you more about yourself than any conversation ever will.